on the kitchen stove with that little pinch of salt into the saucepan of potatoes. Same deal here, only on a larger scale. First into the pot, we put the little red potatoes. We snip the ends off so that the water will penetrate them and hopefully cook them thoroughly. The potatoes cook for a full 30-minute term. About 17, 18, 19 minutes into the boil. Depending on the size and the hardness is when we add the onions. Once we reach the 22-minute period roughly into the boil is when we add the fish. To tell you a little bit more about these fish, these are Lake Michigan whitefish, normally caught off of the north end of the peninsula at Gills Rock, but on the Lake Michigan side of the point in very, very deep water, of about 60 to 140 feet of water, in what's called a trap net, a gill net, or a pond net. These three different styles of nets are used to catch the fish of various lengths, under various conditions, in various areas of the bay and the lake. The fish are supplied to us fresh daily or semi-daily by Johnson's Fisheries out of Gills Rock. They usually bring the fish to me in large black tubs, a layer of ice, about 60 fish, and another layer of ice on top, to ensure all the various restaurants up here that their fish are going to arrive in halfway decent shape. But when we get a hold of these fish, we take it one step further. We take that fish and we cut along the top of the fish from the dorsal fin or top fin forward. We cut all the fat out of the top of the fish and we throw it away. It's a piece about 3 to 5 inches long. Then we take that fish and we cut it up into your 2-inch wide steaks, the tail of which may be slightly longer in most cases. The reasons we fashion the wood around the side of the kettle, as you see, is primarily 2 reasons: high winds and heavy rains. The more it storms off that bay, the more I have to stock the center of that fire with a lot of your hardwoods, like oak, ash, maple, white birch, popple, elm, and so on and so forth, and line the outside of that kettle very heavily to prevent the elements from putting that fire out or the high winds from using up excess wood. As far as the wood is concerned, it does absolutely nothing as far as the flavor of the meal. It is used only as a heat source. Years ago, boilers used to use lake trout for the boils, but because it is more of a sport fish nowadays, we don't use the lake trout. We prefer to stick with the Lake Michigan whitefish, primarily because there is less oil content in the Lake Michigan whitefish. And the reason that is because the Lake Michigan whitefish are vegetarian fish. They do not feed on other fish matters in the Great Lakes. They like things like seaweed, and that's why they are so mild in taste and have less oil content in them. And normally they do not respond to a hook. They may in winter, but not normally in summer. To tell you a little bit more about the fish boil in the way of history, the very first Door County fish boils started up here as commercial businesses back in 1956 on Washington Island as fly-ins, of which you paid about $1.50 for your meal, and also up at the Viking Grill in Wilson Bay, about 8 or 9 miles north of here, back in 1961. But prior to the 1956 date on Washington Island and the 1961 date up at the Viking Grill in Ellison Bay, the fish boils were done up here by the loggers, the commercial fishermen, and your local churches as fundraising on the weekends for their families and friends, until one of those characters up north got the bright idea and said, I wonder how the tourists will grab onto this one. And in 56 and 61, they did it as a business, and it just took off like a skyrocket. So since those dates, there have been approximately 8, who at various points in time, as many as 12 to 14 of us, doing these fish boils up here at any given time during the evening hours. It is a so-called Door County tradition. It is also Icelandic in its origin. Any questions on a fish boil?
Yeah, you got a problem with your ash wood with the boars?
Not that I know of. It wouldn't make any difference if we did, because they'd be burned all to pieces anyway.
I just wondered if your ash trees were separate.
They haven't said anything to me yet.
Is there any possibility that the whitefish can be overfished?
No, we don't even come close to taking what we're allotted out of there. There's many of them. The biggest problem with the whitefish is getting them to go in the net. I've had my guys go out with 3 boats and come back with 8 fish. The next day they went out and come back with 4 pounds of fish.
And
So,
then what else gets caught in the nets?
seaweed.
That's it? No other
That's
fish?
mostly what happens, especially at this time of year. All the seaweed and stuff from over the last year settles to the bottom, and then you get the high waves and winds and stuff, and it just blows it into the nets, and the fish avoid the net. And these are deep water fish. They like to go deep, but they'll avoid the net if that seaweed's in there. So sometimes they pull up the nets and they got a real mess on their hands. Oh yeah.
You don't have Asian carp up here, do you?
I hear they're in Sturgeon Bay. How big they are, I don't know. But if they get up this way, it could devastate the fishing business, that's for sure. Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody's shaking their nipples. Next question: how do you communicate with a fish? You drop it a line. Did you hear about Charlie the tuna from Starkist? Well, because of the rotten economy, Charlie the tuna's not working either. They finally canned him. Why do they cut the heads of the sardines off? That's so they don't bite each other in the can. What fish prey? Holy mackerel. What song do fish sing at night? Some enchanted evening. What did the fish say when it hit the concrete wall? Damn. How much does a pirate pay to get his ears pierced? A buccaneer. Why do mermaids wear seashells? Because B shells are too small and D shells are too big. What day of the week do fish hate? Friday. What do the fishermen do when the fish are not biting? They fish for the hell of it. What's the best way to catch a fish? Have somebody throw it at you. Us old fishermen never die, we just kind of smell that way. I got to tell you a couple of jokes that I heard from a minister in Chicago the other day. Story starts out that, well, we'll use it this way. My wife said it's my birthday next week. And for my birthday, I want something shiny that goes from a 0 to 140 in about 8 seconds. Okay. So next week, she looked in the driveway and she found a bathroom scale with a bow on it. Oh, and the other day she was looking in the mirror and she says to me, I feel awful. I got weight issues. I got lines in my face. My teeth are crooked. I'm just a mess. What I need from you right now is a compliment. So I says, okay, dear. I says, at least your eyesight's perfect. I know. Well, that's enough of that. I know all of my jokes smell. I'm going to clam up. I'm giving everybody here a headache. No trouble about it. Well, we appreciate you coming tonight. And we hope you have a whale of a good time. We also encourage you to take us out sometime for breakfast. We do have a full breakfast menu with a lot of fine food on it. And I guarantee the people at this establishment that their pancakes, eggs, Oscar Mayer bacon, omelets, waffles, French toast, sausages, hash browns, and ham will knock your socks off. They're all terrific cooks here in my book, including Mr. Larry Krause, who owns the restaurant, and my name is Earl, and I approve this message. Now, since there is no wind, I'm going to let you sit where you're sitting. But normally if there's wind, you'd be behind those benches. I'm going to let it go at the count of 3, best picture from round 4 or 5. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Every now and then I get a seagull in the pot. This is Martin. He's one of your servers, and he's also very, very good.